You ever feel like you created your own prison? Well, I have now decided to make a video after busting my ass for 2 weeks. This is 2 weeks out on the road. I'm in North Carolina. North Carolina, yeah, North Carolina. All these Carolinas are the same to me. Um, I've been pretty much all over, east of the Mississippi at this point. Um, and I've learned a few things about my pay and how things are going, how freight is with this particular company. As you know, I don't share who I work for just because you don't shit where you eat. But that being said, I'm getting ready to give you a little bit of a tour of how I live out here as best I can. Well, let's get that out of the way, and then we're going to talk about this versus what I was doing with the gig economy and trying to make it, you know, as an independent contractor doing my own thing versus being under the thumb of corporations again. And just give my thoughts. It's going to be kind of a rambling video, if any. So this is pretty much the shit show. If you want to park your truck, you got to get here early. I took the very last normal parking spot, and it's not in an ideal position because literally they got to try and clear my truck to get out of the fuel island. And I'm not confident that some of these fucking idiots I've seen out here are capable of doing that without taking the nose of the truck off. But being it's the last spot before you got to take the fuck you spots, of which somebody will probably take a fuck you spot next to me and they'll get their nose taken off instead of mine, hopefully. But that being said, this is usually the end of my day, and I try and end my day around like 3 or 4 in the afternoon. I was a little late. I got till 5 today, and that's when these places really start filling up. And if you're not in a parking spot by 5 o'clock, you're probably going to be screwed, to end up parking somewhere you shouldn't. Because there is, for every 10 truckers, there's one legal parking spot, and that's counting the paid ones too. And I never paid a park. Fuck that shit. This is my office. It is a 2026 Kenworth T680, I believe it is. It's got auto start, which I turned off because I didn't want to interrupt, but I'm going to have to turn it on soon because it's hot out. And, yeah, it's pretty much, it's a truck. It's governed at 65 miles an hour. It has adaptive cruise control, only this particular model applies the air brakes with its adaptive cruise control. So you got to keep an eye on it so you don't smoke your brakes, first of all. Second of all, it gets on those brakes pretty hard. So I would never use the adaptive cruise control in slick roads or in situations where basically don't use it unless you want to die, essentially. Because some genius said, we can let it put the air brakes on. It used to be just the engine brakes it could do. Now it does everything. It does the brakes, does everything. But this is not a fucking Prius or Tesla or whatever the fuck. This is a fucking truck, and slamming on the air brakes just because somebody's going 2 miles an hour slower than you in front of you is generally a stupid fucking idea. All right, so rant over there. So this is my food and trash and shitter. Of course you got to have the bucket with you, because you never know. This is where I can put my feet on when I sit on my bunk playing on my laptop at night. This is my refrigerator. Don't judge, but it's mostly keto in there. You know, that is what it is. Actually, that's all keto in there. However, I don't eat out of there. I eat in truck stops, which means I'm not keto. Back here, I got pretty much my laptop. It's on a lap desk. I sit with my back here and put my feet up and just chill on my laptop at the end of the day, or I watch my tablet. And that's about it for my fucking entertainment. I did bring a Bluetooth speaker in case I want to make music, and I brought some of my music shit, but I have yet to bust it out. I've been just pretty much vegetating at the end of my long ass days. So I've got the microwave, of course, with instructions on how to cook the breakfast sandwiches, which I take out of the biscuits and put them in fucking keto wraps and keep my carbs down a little bit every once in a while. Up here, of course, I've got my power station. It's good to have backup power when you're out here because when you can get away with not running the truck. But being that it's 110 degrees out today, the truck is running. And if they don't like it, that's tough shit. So, of course, got closets here. You know, I keep shit in there. And that's pretty much it. You got, some storage under the bunk, which I mainly keep truck supplies in. And cleaning supplies. I've got this here tray table for when I need a table for something. It's one of those Walmart ones. It's already falling apart though, so I'm gonna have to fucking replace that. And that's it. That's my life now. All right, and since it's getting hot, I'll just go ahead and tell you about auto start. So the way this works is on the Kenworths, you just come and you press and hold this button here. It says auto, until you see the dashboard start doing dashboard shit, which it's doing. And then once you get that going, you come back and there's a panel back here. And this panel, we just press and hold this button here. Turns that on. And you set your temperature, which I've got set to 72 degrees. And then it's going to start the engine. It's already set up. It knows it's hot as fuck. And we'll start the engine. And make it not hot in here. So, sorry for the noise, but it's hot out. And if you want a video, you're just going to have to put up with it. I think I got noise reduction anyway. So let me talk about being in the truck again. So far, freight has been good. My first 2 paychecks, over 2,000 miles each week. I'm getting caught up. I'm no longer falling behind the curve, but I still got a lot of debt to pay off. Because during my period of semi-retirement, I leaned on the credit cards too heavy, because I didn't have proper savings, didn't have proper investing, didn't have proper anything. And then shit just kept going wrong, with the van breaking and all the other fucking bills. And it wasn't sustainable. The math wasn't mathing. I believe one of you told me that. Well, you're right. It didn't math properly, so here I am. So I figured out my last week how much I made per hour, though. And it came out with on-duty and driving time around 62 hours total, I think I did. According to what they recorded on my pay stub. $27 an hour. And that's for on-duty and drive time. Doesn't count being here sleeping or doing whatever I do or, being in a door waiting or anything. But to be fair, it's been mostly dropping hooks. I haven't had any, seriously I haven't had any really bad customers yet. Now, I had mentioned previously that I got a pay raise. And turns out it's only because they put me in a different fleet. a Southeast regional fleet, even though I live in New York. So I'm going to be doing a lot of stuff in the South, I guess, which didn't make sense because they sent me up to Wisconsin last week. So there's that. But it's to be noted that it's tentative whether or not I got a pay raise. If I just go back to OTR, the regular fleet, it'd be 65 cents a mile, and which is on the low end nowadays. If you're not making over 60 cents a mile as a truck driver right now, unless you're brand new or something. But if you're an experienced driver, you got more than 3 years under your belt, you should be making more than 60 cents a mile. Walmart pays their drivers, but they pay their drivers a lot of other shit, 62 cents a mile. So, yeah. If it's under 60 cents a mile, you're doing it wrong. You're trucking wrong. We'll just put it that way. That being said, we can talk a bit about the gig economy and how I was doing there. Sorry, the lighting's kind of shitty. The gig economy, I was getting $1.10 a mile for my deliveries, but I had to cherry pick the shit out of them. And it's just like running a trucking load board where you're bidding on different ones. You could take up to 3 at a time and you can overlap, so you can raise it, but a lot of them were just starting to offer less, like 60 cents a mile on some of the delivery runs, which, as I've said before, you got to make at least 75 cents a mile to cover the cost of your vehicle, the depreciation, and the fuel that you spend. So anything over 75 cents a mile is profit when you're driving a van and delivering for the gig economy. Same thing if you're delivering passengers or food or whatever. They kept wanting to dip below $1 a mile, and that's just not feasible long term. And with the amount of times my van has been breaking with shit breaking in it, I couldn't sustain it with the gig economy. So at least doing this, I'm not depreciating my vehicle. I'm depreciating this brand new truck, which is already depreciated because the dickhead before me apparently wrecked it. And it has a crushed fairing, and one of the side fairings is crushed because they obviously turned too tight and ran it into their trailer. And then there's a hole in the front bumper and a scrape where either somebody brushed them or it looks more like they hit something while they were backing up. But some dickhead wrecked this brand new truck, and their loss is my gain, I guess. It still runs great for the most part. Needs a little bit of work on the alignment. But generally, when I was offered this truck, I was like, oh yeah, it's got body damage, but it works fine, so I'll take it. Because I like Kenworths. Of all the trucks that I have the option to ride in and drive, it's definitely Kenworth is my favorite of them. Even though they're a pain in the ass when they break, because they're usually under some kind of fucking manufactured warranty and you're down for 2-3 days at a time or some shit. But so far, trucking is doing it. But I'm missing having full control of my time. I'm missing out on things again, My girlfriend's gone to a rodeo this weekend, and they're sending me pictures and all of this, and I'm here at this shitty truck stop in North Carolina. Yay. So it's not fun, but I guess this is the price I pay as I continue this cycle of bouncing in and out of the industry. Bounce in, pay down the bills, save up some money, and then bounce out. Bounce in, rinse and repeat. And I don't know, it's just hard. And with all the recent events and losing my best friend and my social life went to shit, it's taken some getting used to being back out here again and being away from my girlfriend and You know, we make do. We talk on Messenger and shit, do video chats and that kind of stuff. But it's not the same as being there. And giving that up and being back out here, not really. I didn't really have a choice. I had to get out here and fix my finances. Otherwise, I'd end up with $50,000 in credit card debt, ready to file bankruptcy or something. But so it's going good enough, I guess, for now. Whatever good enough is. See, in the past, I would have made videos that gave you advice and doing all that, but I feel like I failed at everything. I feel like a lot of the things I've tried aren't feasible because it's a parasite economy. Every company is currently trying to gouge you for money. Every company, no matter who it is. And from what I'm hearing, a lot of the higher paid truckers are under a lot of stress right now. You've got UPS trying to offer buyouts to its drivers because it wants to downsize its fleet. You got JB Hunt committing to restructure. Going the wrong way there, buddy. Just never ends out here. You've got a lot of places going, we need to save money because my tariffs and my inflation and my people want more money because they can't buy a McDonald's meal for anything less than $15 now. Sometimes $20. So yeah, we got to pay people more. So instead of paying people more, we're going to cut into our profits. So we're just going to slash and burn jobs and have AI do shit because we don't need people. Because people cost too much money and eat into my corporate jet profits and shit. And that's going on in the gig economy too. It's like unavoidable. And the problem with the gig economy versus trucking is more people can do it. Like anybody with a driver's license and a vehicle, even without a vehicle, you could go rent one, can get out there and get into the market. And when you have a saturated gig economy market, you run into things like DoorDash waiting lists, in order to get it. Like I had a friend of mine that tried to go for DoorDash and ended up, actually, it was Steve. Yeah, Steve tried to go on DoorDash for a little bit and they waiting listed his ass, you know. So that didn't work out. And look how that turned out. But, I noticed it with rideshare. I noticed it with delivery. Like, the more people are doing that, the less there is, there's only so much deliveries. There's only so many people needing rides. And as they raise the prices, it's getting really bad with the ride share because they're raising prices on the people you're picking up and they're lowering the amount they give you, and they got all these fucking deceptive things they do with their apps to try and trick you into taking $4 rides with 2 stops. Yeah. And in your vehicle that you're paying a fortune in insurance for. And they blame their commercial insurance. Insurance is gouging the fuck out of everybody. Now, one could argue everyone's driving like shit and wrecking, and I've been in 2 traffic jams today, which were both because of people fucking up and getting in accidents out here, and that costs everyone money. You see, you're not insured based on your skill and your performance. You're insured based on the market. And I don't know if you've been on the roads lately, but everyone drives like shit. So you're paying a fortune for insurance. Well, when you get into commercial insurance, it's even higher. So, yeah, there's nowhere to run to get ahead. You're pretty much just stuck. You're stuck dealing with the greed that is out there. And I think a lot of it is desperate greed. But there's some just greedy greed that I think if they weren't as greedy, we wouldn't be as fucked as we are. But that being said, I'm doing okay financially so far. They've kept me busy. They've kept me rolling. I did slow down on my own. I slowed down this weekend. I only worked 8 hours today, and I'm only going to do 6 or 7 hours tomorrow on Sunday. And we'll see. But I'm not going to call this a success or a fail at this point because they've done right by me so far these 2 weeks. They've given me good loads. They're paying me decent enough that even if I did get a shorter load, I'd be like, all right, I can do that. Just don't do it every day. And yeah, that'd be that. So, the stupidity is starting already. There's a fucking truck parked there. What is this guy doing? So yeah, the shenanigans is starting already. But oh, he's not going to do it. So he's going to park right there. So he's going to park there, and that's going to fuck with trucks that need to get through here. Which is going to fuck with the front of my truck. All right. Yeah, he's still doing it. So yeah, that's going to make it more likely I get my truck run into right there. You watch. I might be making another video tonight. And he's almost backing into that other fucking bobtail. Every day it's like this. Every fucking day. So yeah, they're just making that a tighter turn. I'm not going to sleep good tonight. But it's a day cab, so how long is he going to stay there unless he's sleeping in that fucking thing? That would suck, eh? So I haven't figured out my long-term goal yet. How long I'm going to be back out here for. I do have a set of things to get done, and that's pay off my credit cards, start investing a little bit. I'll figure that out and give you updates when I start doing that. But credit cards first, emergency fund, then investing. Those are the 3 goals for me being out here. I'm shooting to do all of this in a year, hopefully, get ahead, and then try and take some real retirement time. Whether it's dropping down to casual or stepping out of the truck for another year. One of those things has to happen. So, but that's it. Just my thoughts. This video kind of sucks. That's my thoughts. Creative-wise, I don't know. I'm just uninspired right now. I haven't made any music. I haven't, this is the first video I've put out. I might try and get a little bit better with the videos. But like I said, when I'm working these 70-hour fucking weeks here, it's exhausting. I'm bouncing off my 70 hours every day. So I'm definitely being utilized properly. I'm not doing a lot of sitting. If I'm sitting more, I'll make more videos. We'll put it that way. So be patient with this channel. But what the fuck do I know? Because I'm not an expert. I'm just an asshole. Please like and subscribe for more shit. And I'll make more shit. Maybe. All right. Have a nice motherfucking day. Shit. Now I'm going to just sit and play edit this video and then play a game on my laptop and maybe eat some Chester's fucking chicken. Because I haven't had Chester's chicken the last 2 weeks I've been out here. And you know what? I want Chester's chicken. And there's Chester's Chicken here. It's the whole reason I put up with this parking situation. So I get some fucking Chester's Chicken. If you don't know what Chester's Chicken is, just look around. They're out there. It's not as good as Chick-fil-A, but it's good enough.